sticks of unsalted butter that you can see I've cut into little cubes and stuck it back in the fridge. Because if there's one rule to pie making, it's you work cold and you work fast. So for this, the next thing I need is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. This is a 4-ingredient pie dough. It could not be easier. All right, and another one. And then a teaspoon of salt. That's important. You want to have that nice savory flavor to your pie dough. And then from here, it's pretty crazy what I do. I learned how to make pie dough in the most difficult of circumstances, like on a boat, somewhere where there wasn't any appliances. So I couldn't really rely on a food processor and that sort of thing. So what I discovered was using my hands was just fine. But your hands are warm, so you want to work quickly. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of picking up each piece and rubbing it very quickly through my fingers and trying to make like little teeny like peas, or sometimes they call it a course meal. I like to use milk. And the reason why is because with the butter fat, it makes it a little bit more forgiving. And then I just kind of take my fingers, and before I start getting too mixed up here, I just want to distribute the liquid. Thing is, you don't want to overwork pie dough. And then I just stick my hands right in there and I start bringing it together. I can tell at this point if I've got too much or too little, and I think I'm just about perfect actually. Okay, that looks just about perfect. So you can see here that it's come together beautifully. I just want to divide it in half, wrap it in plastic, and get it right into the fridge. So here I have the basic pie dough. And what I absolutely love about this pie dough, which is a little different, is we used a little milk in it. So the extra butter fat makes it a little bit easier to roll out. Just makes it a little bit more forgiving than, just using water. So I just start from the center of the dough and roll out. You can pretty much roll it out anywhere. Just pull it over a little bit. There we go. And then I just kind of like to sink it in gently to make sure that I have it in all the little crevices. That's perfect. And whatever you see hanging over, I'm going to trim. So now for the filling. I have 8 apples, and I like to mix tart and sweet. What's tart and sweet? Well, this is a Granny Smith, and this is a Gala apple. So you just want to peel your apple, and I just simply do it with a paring knife. Those apples are all cut. Now let's get some flavor into these apples. A little bit of lemon does 2 things. It prevents the apples from browning because it acidulates it. And then the other thing is that it brings a little bit of flavor because we got the sweet and tart thing going here. All right, I have 1/3 cup of flour. This is what's going to make our pie ultimately thick enough to cut in a beautiful slice without being too runny. I have 1/4 cup of sugar. And I've worked hard on these measurements because when your husband wants apple pie instead of cake for his birthday, you try to make that right. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, my spicing for my pies, I don't put too much strong spice in there because I like the apples to shine through. A little bit of clove, it's a pinch, just a tiny little pinch, because that's a pretty strong flavor. But if you don't use too much of it, it just brings the most beautiful spice to your pie. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm always saying it, salt brings out the sweet, so don't forget about that. Now I'm just going to toss it together. I want to make sure that I coat all the apples with that flour. We are almost there. And before I get the top crust on, I want to make this pie really luscious. So I'm putting a little bit of butter in here because it mixes with the flour and the juices, and it just makes the creamiest, yummiest, smoothest apple pie filling. Now, I rolled out my top crust already, and I'm just going to peel it off. See this beautiful dough? It's been sitting here the whole time, and it's okay. Perfect. And then very quickly, I just want to trim my bottom. I don't have to be too perfect about it. We want a beautiful crust, but we don't want too much thickness on the edge. So then I just take it, and I want to pinch it together. But I just keep rolling it around and around. This is just the first thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go and crimp it with my fingers. Okay, perfect. Now I'm just going to go around here, crimping it, thumb between 2 fingers. I'm just going to keep going like this. I'm going to get this pie into the refrigerator because I want to have this dough chilled. I want a cold pie to hit a hot oven. Oh, The pie is out of the oven. It is the perfect color, but here's a big thing about pies. You need to let it rest if you want that perfect, beautiful slice to come out. Thanks for watching. Hungry for more? Click here for more great recipes, and to subscribe, click here. Check back every week for more craveable recipes, leave a comment, and tell me what you think. And don't forget, head over to our other channels for Everyday Food with Sarah Carey, Martha Stewart Weddings, and the Martha Stewart Channel.